Hi, my name is Tara, and welcome to Mermaid Co, where we talk all things manifestation and tarot. I help you rebuild your life from scratch after heartbreak or whatever has gone on that has allowed your life to just crumble around you. I'm also a manifestation coach, and I've just launched my course called Living Effortlessly. So everything's in the link below. Let's get to it. So today I really just want to go back to it all where it all started for me because I want to let you know. I want to hold your hand while we're saying this, okay? It always works out. I know what you're going through is so painful. You feel so lost. You're in the unknown. You don't know if it's all going to work out. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was in that space for so long. But let me tell you, law of attraction is what allowed me to move forward. It's what gave me the hope that life can be different because life doesn't have to be the way that it is. It's just that, and this is the good part to let you know that you had just been living on autopilot. Now, now we're consciously creating a new life for you. That, all of the stuff that's happening, it has to fall away because what's coming is so like it is beyond your wildest of dreams. And I'm going to teach you in this video how to move forward, how to use the law of attraction in your favor so life it can be different. And let me tell you, it will be different because you are awake now. And life is going to be so different. It doesn't have to be full of those relationships. But the thing is, you have a choice. You can go back to your comfort zone of the crappy relationship, the toxic job, because it feels safe, even though it's baffling. But even though those people, that job, that situation isn't good for you, it's what you know. It's what you know. So it feels comfortable, it feels familiar. To be where you are now, you have no idea what's going to happen. You don't even know the next step ahead of you. And that is scary. It is wildly uncomfortable. I remember not wanting to be in my own skin. And then you see all your friends and they have what looks to be the white picket fence, right? And your life is just in shambles. Trust me, I get it. I know what I'm talking about. I know what you're going through because I was there. Now I have my own business. Now I'm living a life of purpose. And that will be your life. It will be. But you can't go back to all of that. You have to stick it out. You have to just rough it out in the unknown. Don't go back to what you know because now that you have no control over your life, now the universe can finally do its thing because you have no control. When we're trying to control everything, you're being so rigid with life and the universe can't work its magic. And trust me, you get used to being in the unknown. It actually ends up being really comfortable. And you know that when you're in the unknown, you know that's where all the magic happens. And from now onwards, you won't know the next 2 to 3 steps ahead. You will only get little breadcrumbs that you have to pick up. That is your lined action. Okay. I I created a course called Living Effortlessly because I don't believe that you have to struggle, that you have to work harder. But to program your mind to think in that way is the hardest part. It's all mental, it's nothing physical. To let go and know that you just have to do bare minimum and that can be life is that is just amazing. That's the hardest part to learn. Manifestation ends up being an unlearning of everything you've been taught. So when you go on this journey, you're going to be doing things wildly different to what you've ever been taught, to what your family and friends want you to do. Because your family were never taught about law of attraction. They were never taught to listen to their heart. They were never taught to fulfill their purpose. They were told to just go find a job and go work and tough it out. That I don't care, you just work. Now we're living with purpose. Now we're living with intention. Now to do that, it's all awareness. That's what it comes down to. Is consciously being aware of your patterns, behaviors, and reactions. That you have to ignore your 3D. You have to ignore what you are currently experiencing, because what you're currently experiencing is your thoughts from a few months ago, a few weeks ago, a few days ago. There is a time lag between what it is that you want and what you're currently experiencing. Okay, so get curious. This is what I did. When my life fell apart, becoming a single parent, I was a shell of myself. I got curious, and like I had no job, nothing. And then even when I got a job, I've just stayed curious this whole time. But when I had no direction, when I had nothing to grab a hold of, and I'm trying to move forward, I had no choice but to just sit in that void. And that's what you got to do, unfortunately, because this is how we live effortlessly. The more you try and force things to happen, the more resistance you are creating. So right now, I just want you to journal things out. And I go more extensive in my online course, Living Effortlessly. But just write out your thoughts. You need to clear what is going on in the mind, or your anger, resentment, jealousy, like your stress, all that you're stressing about. Dump it in a journal, because you're clearing your mind for the ideas and the epiphanies to come in. And I want you to ask, okay, but why did this happen? Why has this happened? What is this teaching me? And you may not have the answer straight away, but my thing was, it's because something bigger and better is coming. That's it. And that can just be your mantra right now. It's because something bigger and better is coming. But everything is going to work out for you. I promise you, if you just keep being on this path of the unknown, get curious, everything's going to come in for you. And so this is when I started waking up to spirituality. Everything that I know now is what I used to roll my eyes at. My nan was very religious, and she, whilst not in the context of law of attraction, she used kind of like the Bible and whatnot, but it's the same thing. So she used to talk about angels and stuff, and I used to roll my eyes. And I was so wish she was alive now, because get it. Now I get it. I understand. We would do, as a kid, she had like walking troubles. She couldn't really walk properly and walk far. And so she used to would be in the car and would always try and manifest a spot directly at the front of the shop. I'm like, oh, it's not going to happen, Nan. And she would say a prayer. She would say a prayer to her angels that she would find a car spot directly at the front of a shop. We would do a blocky, maybe one or two. We always got a car spot directly at the front of the shop. And every time I doubted her too. And now I do it, and I always get a car spot. Sometimes I'll have to do, two blockies, but I always get the car spot directly out the front of where I want to be. And so you have to have faith. You have to have blind faith in unseen energies. That's the hardest part too, is not being able to physically witness what's happening, but there is so much going on in the background that you can't see. So journaling, I can't tell you how crucially important it is to journal. It's what's going to get you the ideas of how to move forward, and start asking yourself, what are my interests? And so this is what I was getting back to, the interest, right? I went and seen a psychic for the first time in my life because I was in the unknown. I wanted to make sure that everything was going to be okay. Will I ever find another relationship? What am I supposed to do with my life? And I couldn't believe she knew the stuff that she did. She didn't give me any direction, but the fact that she like she did say that I was going to be in another relationship, and then my next relationship would be like my lifelong one. Like I've done all my relationships now, because I'm learning my lessons now. This is the thing, like you're learning your life lessons now, and when you finally learn them, you don't get them, or you do get them again, but in a way that because you've learned it, you're aware of it now, and you make a different choice. But anyway, she knew all these things that had already happened that wasn't on my social media. And I went home and Googled, like, this is where my curiosity came in, okay? This is how curiosity works. I literally Googled, can you learn to be psychic? Because I didn't know if this was just something that people were born with or this is something that you could learn and develop. And it turns out we're actually all born psychic. It's just that we we never got taught to keep listening to our heart and what we're feeling, because we can feel energies, we can feel vibes. Like kids naturally know to stay away from certain people. They may not know why, but anyway, we would not continue to be taught that. So then it lays dormant, and it's more about waking it up. It's about relearning what you actually already knew as a child. And then that led to, Googling about the third eye, then that and then I reached out to a person who and then this is where things fall into place too. And then I came across a lady on my like an acquaintance, like my ex's friend, and she just so coincidentally started posting on Facebook her doing psychic readings. So I reached out to her. Like that's not, we didn't really speak. So, it was a bit outside my comfort zone to reach out to her. But I just said, hey, like, how did you learn to be psychic? She goes, get yourself a deck of oracle cards and tarot. So I did it. So then I at the time I was watching Gem Goddess on YouTube, and I was watching this video of hers, and it just really wasn't her. Most of her videos, like, I love them, but this particular video, it just wasn't a bit, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. But there was one sentence that she said in this 20-minute video that I needed to hear. And she was saying that either she learned or anyway, she was telling people to learn. There's a platform called Biddy Tarot, which is a platform where you can give out free readings. People know that you're learning, and they come from all over the world, get a free reading. And the thing is, they have to leave you a review. And if they don't leave you a review after 3 times, like from different people, they get banned from the website until they leave that review. And then those reviews, you can have them as your testimonials and your reviews for your own business and whatnot to advertise yourself. So that one sentence out of a 20-minute video, see, things are just naturally happening, right? And then so I signed up for Biddy Tarot. This is the aligned action. So I'm just getting curious. I didn't know that this was just my interest. I didn't know that this was going to lead to it being my job. This was just what I was just self-teaching. It's just what I wanted to do. So I learned Biddy Tarot, and then I had a job fall into my lap through a friend that had been looking for a job, and a friend who I hadn't seen in 15 years came into my life. A woman walked into her shop, asked if anyone was looking for a job. She thought of me. I got the job. And then my boss, she eventually put tarot on the menu, so I was doing tarot readings there. And then, so everything was falling into place. And so then I started getting even more curious. And then I started doing like online courses and whatnot, like when my daughter would go to bed. And I would start, doing psychic readings and mediumship readings when my daughter had gone to bed. So, and then I got the idea of starting a YouTube. And so everything fell into place. And for a long time, I didn't know how all of this was going to come together, but it did, because I started listening to what my heart was calling me to do. And it will always tell you to do the most like scariest of things that are outside your comfort zone. So when I first started giving tarot readings, I was petrified. I wanted to quit my job. I was so terrified, but I did it anyway. And then I did my first workshop. That was so outside my comfort zone. But so you'll get these breadcrumbs. You'll only get one at a time. So, and then you have to take the aligned action. Okay, that's the aligned action. And I prime my mind. When something is outside my comfort zone, I start visualizing. So then I start getting used to the idea of what it is that I need to go and do. So start getting curious. And you'll wonder if it's all going to amount to anything. You'll wonder if how this is going to play out in your life, or if it even will. Start getting curious. What are my interests? What do I like doing? Know that what it is that you're currently going through will become your purpose in life. Because that's the thing, like, you need purpose. And when you get curious, you start to find out what your purpose is. And it will unravel over a period of time. You won't know at the beginning. When I was doing these psychic circles, the mediumship, the tarot, I had no idea how all of this was going to come together. I was just dabbling in what I found interesting. That's it. And then it formed my whole coaching program. Going through what I was like, what I've been through, it then formed my online course. And people have just dropped into my life ever so effortlessly. People have just dropped into my life. And I really had to stop the chaos. I really had to stop trying to like seek out the drama, because once you start living consciously, once you start living peacefully, you're so used to the drama that you unconsciously try and like seek it out with the conversations you're having with people. And so you really have to starve that part of yourself. And that's what you're going through right now, is you're starving a part of yourself that is no longer in alignment to where you are going. So know that it always works out. And I was in the darkness for a really long time. And you may not be in it for as long as I was. You know, I became a single parent. I was a shell of myself. I'd come out of a narcissistic relationship. I didn't have a job. Like, I was still on my like maternity, like not maternity leave, because I had quit my job in the city to move to the countryside. So I hadn't even gotten a job. So I really had to start my life from scratch. I literally had nothing to go off. But if this video is anything that it tells you, is that it always works out to follow your interests and your curiosities, and that's what's going to get you far. That's what's going to live a life of fulfillment. And you're going to think that none of this is going to work out. How you're going to be questioning yourself the whole way through your journey. But know that it always works out and you're okay. And my next video is going to be talking about how to attract the right relationship into your life, which is kind of like a second part to what I'm talking about now. How everything, it just falls into your lap. You don't have to go looking, you don't have to go chasing. And yes, it's scary, but you have to trust. You have to have this unwavering faith in energies that you can't see, because so much is happening in the background that you can't see yet. So I actually want to pull a card for you. So let's pull an oracle card, because it's always nice knowing that it's all going to work out and what the cards have to say. So I love this deck, the Gateway Oracle cards. They're very precise. They give clear direction. So I would invest in these cards. They're really great. These were one of my first decks. No, actually, I gave them to a friend, and then I loved them so much because like we had like a little like tarot night. I loved them so much that I went and bought them myself. These are really like basic clear cards. Oh, okay. Renewing your life, and then one fell out. Oh, you'll never guess what came out. Okay, was it renewing your life? Following your bliss, following your curiosities, following your interests, following what your heart's telling you. And nothing may come to mind right now, okay? Nothing may come to mind. That's okay. I made these candles, like these manifestation candles. They are beautiful. But they came in a way of me just having a conversation with my friend, and I don't know how conversations, I don't know how candles came into our conversation, but it was my initial not my initial direction, because it was more about, I got, like, the breadcrumb of start a YouTube channel and talk about what it is that you're currently going through. So that was my first piece of direction, and then, like, the psychic and the tarot, and then, like, still, like, in that limbo land of, like, no man's land that I was in and that you're most likely in. I was just having, like, a throwaway conversation with my friend, and somehow we spoke about candles, and none of us are even into candles, so I don't even know why it was part of our conversation, but it stuck with me. Like, I really wanna make candles. I had no idea how to make them. I literally had no idea about, like, anything about candles. But I just Googled it, and then one day I was playing dolls with my daughter, and I just got, like, this vision of what my candles could look like. Not a clear vision, but it was more like over the top with crystals and dried flowers, very fairy, goddess-like, and then from there, it has turned into what it is now. Um, but so follow your bliss. Like, conversations can spark something within you, just like it did me. And I have an entrepreneurial mind. So I do coaching, I have my online course, I do tarot, I do massage, I make candles, I go to markets and sell them. Like, you don't have to be fitted into a box and a label. You can do whatever it is that you want. That's what makes you interesting. That's why people will be drawn to you. So follow your bliss. Know that this is a renewing of your life. You're currently shedding the skin of, like, what doesn't fit anymore. You're expanding what it is that has is falling away or has left. It doesn't fit into your life anymore. You are raising your frequency. And so as you raise your frequency, certain things can't hold on to that frequency. So yeah, well, I think with that video, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to share all the links below of my online course, my one-on-one coaching, my website, my tarot readings, and I will see you in my next video where we are going to be talking about relationships.